All right, Nick Barris back on Morning Line with Nashville Vice Mayor Jim Shulman. Appreciate him coming on, getting lots of questions and comments from folks on Facebook as well as online. We've got another call we'll take real quick, and then we'll get to some of the calls, or rather questions on Facebook. We'll go to Dr. Tarleton's on line 1. Good morning, doctor. Are you there, sir? Good morning. Can you hear me? Do you know who this is, Jim?
Dr. Tarleton, I think his full name is Dr. Gadsden Jack Tarleton. It's my understanding that he had a birthday yesterday and turned 100.
Wow. That's great.
He is a longtime doctor, big member of NAACP. He got his, he became a doctor. He went to school at Meharry and graduated in 1944. Very active in the community. A big writer, has done all kinds of different things, big board person, served on a bunch of medical stuff, and still lives in Bordeaux.
Yeah.
And
a friend of
so
Reverend
happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday to him.
Yeah.
Well, it's not, I think he wanted to call in, and we'll wish him a happy 100th. Wow. Well, listen, again, a lot of comments from people on Facebook saying, you know, look, this is coming at a horrible time. You can put people out of their homes. What about this? I mean, there simply are going to be some people who cannot afford to pay this increase.
Yeah.
And at a time like this, you know it's just not right to even consider removing someone from a home for failure to pay property taxes. I can't imagine that's going to be. Are you guys going to discuss how that'll be handled for those who financially simply can't pay because they're out of work?
So, so remember that the way this works is the mayor proposes a budget and then we figure it out. The council, we just got it. We just got the same information that everybody else got on Tuesday afternoon. Budget gets filed. We start reviewing it. Bob Mendes is our budget chair. Bob was my pick as chair because he understands the budget about as well as anybody in this city. I have tremendous confidence in Bob and his ability. He knows this stuff. And so you're going to see the council review what's in the budget, where the revenue streams, what's going on with it, you know, should the rate be where it is, and what does it mean? And, you know, so while we're getting lots of emails from people saying, how dare you raise the rate in a time like this, we're going to talk about that. So don't think we're not, because we have to.
Well, will people be evicted? I mean, would it come down to that? I do not live in Davidson County, but if I did and I was in a situation like some of these people are talking about and I couldn't pay it, I wouldn't pay it. The food, I'm going to take care of my family first,
right?
And I'm not going to expect anyone to come evict me.
So I think what we have to do is we have to talk through all that and figure out what steps we can take, or what steps do we work with the legislature to take to make sure that people are safe. I mean, this is not one of these things where, I mean, COVID-19 impacted everybody. It wasn't like it just impacted a group of, you know, a small group of people. It flowed all the way up. I'll give you an example. So the small restaurants that we have in town that are fighting to survive, well, a lot of them got their food from small farmers. And so when people stopped, you know, when the restaurants shut down, that impacted the farmers and also impacted the people that brought the food in. So everybody got impacted. So what the council is going to have to do as it goes through this review is figure out, okay, what about the budget and what does that mean? And are there steps we can take to protect people? What about extra money that might be available either through the federal government or the state or whatever to try to help people who really don't have the ability to do this and can't get their jobs back? So we've got a lot of work to do over the next, what, almost 2 months? Budget has to be passed by the end of June. So the mayor was going to give it to us on March 31st, if you remember that.
Right.
Then all the stuff hit. So now we've got it. Now we're on our regular cycle. We have to have it done by June 30th. Watch us. Send us messages. Remember, people are mad at the rate. Understand that. People are mad at us on the other side, the employees, because they're not getting anything either. So basically everybody's not happy with us.
But as far as, you know, I guess maybe you don't know because we're not there yet, but if someone can't pay because they just simply are in dire straits, I mean, can you say that there won't be foreclosures?
Well, I don't know if I can say that. I know that people, you know, there were orders that were coming down through the Supreme Court and other places that said you can't evict people. So those are good through a certain amount of time. I think what we have to do is figure out, working with the mayor, working with the administration, the governor's office, to try to figure out how long those things last. we have to rebuild this country. I mean, think about it, Nick. I mean, 2 months ago, into February, you know, we had heard of the COVID-19, but nobody was staying inside. So 2 short months later, we are trying to figure out how to make this thing work. And so people are going to have to work together. We're going to have to figure out what we can do to protect people if they can't pay. And what does that mean? And I mean, we just have to figure out how we together try to make this all work at the same time.
Yeah, and,
So
and the
we got
reason
some work to do.
it's tough. It's a tough position, and I'm just guessing that you would say you wouldn't be doing this if there was any other choice. You have people like Scott saying, you know, you're basically kicking us while we're down, and I understand where he's coming from on that. So it's just tough all the way around. Let's take another phone call. We'll go to Randy. Randy, good morning. Hi, Randy. What's your question or comment?
Hi, thank you so much for taking my call, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Sure.
The mayor and yourself have implemented the safer at home guidelines and recommending 6 feet apart that we do social distancing. But how did the mayor maintain that social distancing recently when he got his hair cut? And he's forbidding licensed professionals from going back to work and cutting hair when he himself got his cut. How did he do that? Can you explain that?
I don't know. Did he go to a salon somewhere and get it cut, or you just noticed he got his hair cut? I didn't.
Well, according to the spokesperson that I spoke with in the mayor's office, they said a close personal friend did it. So I'm not sure how he maintained 6 feet apart.
Okay. All right. Well, you know, in terms of cutting hair, I know a lot of people right now. I have several good friends of mine who have had their wife cut their hair, and they did an okay job. But I don't know with the mayor on this. But that is one of the issues when it comes to salons opening up, just like dental offices, where you can't do your job and be 6 feet apart without maybe covering up.
Well, so I don't know the answer to Randy's question. I'm not that close to the mayor where I know how he got his hair cut. I can certainly ask him, but it sounds like he's already checked and a personal friend or something did it. I don't know. I know that I haven't gotten my hair cut, as you can tell. You know, so I can't answer his question because I just don't know.
All right, let's go next to Jim. Jim, good morning. Do you have a question or comment, Jim?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead, sir.
The mayor. I listened to the mayor, and he said that this is a really tight budget, and the school system is going to get the same money they got last year, and they've made all the cuts. But then I hear him brag about how he's working with the resettlement of refugees to come to Nashville, and he's also very involved in the protection of all the new illegals that come to Nashville. All these kids, all these people are going into the school system, and we're going to bring more people in that the taxpayers have to support.
Okay. Do you want to comment on that in terms of how many actually are coming in? Some of the latest reports are there's far fewer than there have been, but is that an issue?
Well, so, I mean, this gets back to that. It's been an issue for a while from the standpoint of the city doesn't deal with immigration. I mean, it is what it is. I happen to believe that I'm a big supporter of all people, but the immigration issue is a national issue. It is not a local issue. I know people get mad at us and say we need to be doing something about it. Look, it's like sort of what I said before. It is what it is. I understand Jim's concern, but immigration, the overall immigration issue is a federal issue. It is not something that you want the Metro Council dealing with. We don't deal with that. We can deal with trying to make sure that services are provided to people who are here, but we don't have any authority to make any decisions regarding the overall national immigration situation. So we have to deal with what we've got. If the federal government's not going to do anything about it, then we're going to take care of the people who live in our city. And that's our responsibility. Nick, this goes back a long time to where we used to have arguments over all kinds of the different sectors of our community. The best thing I can say is that we were elected to represent everybody who lives in this community, in Nashville and Davidson County, and that's our job. And you certainly don't want us starting to discriminate. That's not why we ran. We're gonna take care of the people who live here. If you have a concern about immigration, you got to call Washington. That's where the responsibility lies. It is not with us.
Let's go next to Pam. Pam, good morning. Go ahead, Pam.
Yes, I was wondering if there had been any consideration for increasing the gasoline tax or perhaps a temporary increase on the sales tax rather than putting the entire burden on the property owners.
All right.
All right. So gasoline tax was raised a couple years ago. That's a state issue. So we don't control that. The state did that. On the sales tax, it is already at, 9.25%. We have the ability to raise it to another 0.5. It can go up to 9.75%. But we would have to, I believe, a referendum to do that. And so we would actually have to go back out to the voters and see if they would be willing to do that. They tried that, this has been 10, 15 years ago. I think when Mayor Purcell was the mayor, there was a move to do that for educational purposes, and the citizens voted it down. So you're never sure what's going to happen, but we don't have the ability just to do it ourselves. It would have to go back before the voters.
Let's go next to Ann. Getting lots of calls here. Ann, good morning. Go ahead, Ann.
Good morning. First, let me thank you and Mayor Cooper for what you've done to keep Nashville safe and for not announcing plans and changing plans. But my question is this. We're 8 weeks into this COVID situation, and our most compromised are our elderly, and we are just now starting to check all of our long-term care and residential and nursing home facilities. And of course, we can expect a great rise in numbers when we get those results back. Is there a set plan when these numbers come back? Because there is absolutely no way there is not going to be an increase in positive COVID cases among our elderly and those workers. And there is going to be wishy-washy comments coming from our governor and all across the state when these numbers start rolling in.
Okay.
So, Ann, I believe.
Yes.
Very strong points about our older citizens. During the day, that's who I work with. So we've been pushing. We don't oversee nursing homes, but we've been pushing out essential services to older citizens. But Ann's right. They are. When you start talking about the most vulnerable population, you're talking about seniors. And then when you start talking about the most vulnerable populations, you're talking about people who are in nursing homes and assisted living facilities. Let's just say that understand the concern. I spoke to the mayor yesterday for I spoke to him for an hour, but about 30 minutes of that was talking about exactly what Ann's talking about. We keep that hospitalization rate stable. That's important. But I know the governor was talking about testing yesterday, and a refocus on nursing homes.
Yep.
I think
there's certainly been a lot. We got to take a break, but there's been a lot of attention on that, and she makes a good point. And it's not just in Metro, but across. Just refocusing on that and the elderly population, making sure that they stay safe in this. Listen, we have to take a break. When we come back, our final segment, more calls and questions on Facebook right after this.